A Tale of Two Times. A Working Class Struggle, 1870 versus 2025. By R. M. Hubbock. The Same Street, 150 Years Apart. London, 1870. A thick fog curled through the narrow streets of the East End. Horses clattered over the cobblestones, their riders wrapped in threadbare coats. Gas lamps flickered in the cold night air, casting long shadows over filthy alleys where children huddled beneath rags for warmth. Martha Taylor pulled her shawl tighter around her shoulders as she hurried home. In her pocket, sixpence, the only money left to feed her children. Her husband, Robert, had worked a 14-hour shift in the ironworks, yet the wages were barely enough to keep them alive. Their eldest daughter, Lillian, spent her days in a factory, her fingers blistered from stitching garments for the wealthy. Their son, Tommy, had stopped coming home. Rumors whispered that he had fallen in with the street thieves. As Martha walked, she passed the looming gates of the workhouse. A shudder ran through her. They were always just one step away from ending up there, and if that day ever came, she knew what it meant. Separation, husbands torn from wives, children from mothers. She clenched the coins in her palm. Not tonight, not yet. London, 2025. The same street, but had the world truly changed? The cobblestones had long been buried beneath tarmac, the gas lamps replaced by neon shopfronts and flickering streetlights. Rubbish bags spilled onto the pavement, rats darting between discarded takeaway boxes. Sarah Turner tightened her coat and glanced over her shoulder as she walked home from the supermarket. The plastic bags in her hands barely held enough food for the week, but her cafe wages wouldn't stretch any further. Her husband, Rob, was trapped in 0-hour contract work, never knowing if he'd get enough shifts to cover rent. Their daughter, Lucy, spent more time on the streets than at home. Sarah feared the gangs, knives, drugs, and the lure of easy money had pulled too many teenagers into danger. Their son, Tyler, barely spoke anymore, lost in a world of screens and influencers selling him false dreams. As she walked, she passed a homeless man curled up in a shop doorway. A chill ran through her. They were one paycheck away from ending up there. She gripped the bags tighter. Not tonight. Not yet. Two families, two eras, the same struggles. The year may change, but hardship remains. Martha Taylor, 1870. She fears the workhouse, her son Tommy falling into crime, and her family starving. Sarah Turner, 2025. She fears eviction, her daughter Lucy being caught up in gangs, and her family breaking apart. Two women, 2 centuries, the same street, the same fight for survival. The men, hard work, no reward. Robert Taylor, 1870, works 14-hour shifts in a factory, breathing in toxic fumes. His wages barely cover food and rent. If he misses a day, he doesn't get paid. If he complains, he is replaced. Rob Turner, 2025, works 0-hour contracts in a warehouse. No job security, no sick pay, no idea how many hours he'll get next week. The cost of living keeps rising, but his wages don't. He feels like a failure. In both eras, men work themselves to exhaustion, yet their families remain on the edge of poverty. The daughters, struggling to survive. Lillian, 1870. At 14, she works in a textile factory, her fingers bleeding from endless stitching. If she slows down, she is beaten. If she speaks up, she is fired. Lucy, 2025. At 14, she is tempted by gangs, fast money, and the pressures of social media. She sees influencers flaunting luxury lifestyles and wonders why her family has nothing. She wants to escape, but at what cost? Different times, different dangers, but both girls are trapped in a system that does not care for them. The Sons, crime as an escape. Tommy, 1870, he runs with a gang of street thieves, stealing bread to survive. If caught, he faces the hangman or transportation to Australia. Tyler, 2025, he withdraws into his phone, bombarded with images of gang culture, fast cash, and violence. The temptation is there. A knife offers protection. A gang offers family. In both worlds, poverty pushes boys toward crime, because what other options do they have? Then and now, has anything changed? Victorian slums versus the 2025 homeless crisis. Then, overcrowded slums, damp walls, disease, and desperation. Now, tents under bridges, doorways lined with rough sleepers, families trapped in temporary housing. Dangerous factory work versus zero-hour contracts and job insecurity. Then, 14-hour shifts in factories filled with toxic fumes, no protection, no rights. Now, zero-hour contracts, unpredictable work, no sick pay, no security. Children forced to work versus children groomed into gangs and crime. Then, small hands stitching fabric, cleaning chimneys, and working in mills. Now, young teens lured into gang life, promises of money, protection, and status. Disease and malnutrition versus mental health crisis, knife crime and drug epidemics. Then, cholera, tuberculosis, rickets, diseases of poverty. Now, anxiety, depression, addiction, wounds that can't always be seen. Technology has advanced, medicine has improved, but for the working class, has life truly changed? The reflection. Sarah walks through a small museum on her way home. A black and white photograph catches her eye, an image of a Victorian woman walking these same streets, a child at her side, fear in her eyes. The plaque beneath reads, "A working-class mother, 1870. Many families faced starvation, harsh labor, and crime." Sarah stares at the image. For a moment she sees herself. A shiver runs through her. Time has moved forward, but the struggle remains the same.
Hey there, if you enjoyed this video please give it a like and subscribe. It only takes a few clicks and means a lot to me. Thank you.